To episode 4 of our podcast series, Sports in Data, with our next guest speaker being Jose. Hey, Jose, how are you doing?
Hi, Bailey. Fine. Thank you so much for
No,
having me here.
nice to have you on. Just a quick introduction for anyone that doesn't know. So, Xcede are one of Europe's largest and leading data recruitment agencies. I manage one of our data kind of functions within the organization from a recruitment perspective. And we've worked with many sports organizations, teams, consultancies, helping find the best talent within data, specifically working in sports, but also other industries as well. So Jose is a senior data scientist for a organization called Sportian. For those listeners who aren't familiar with Sportian or have never heard of them, Sportian was a joint venture or is a joint venture created by Globant, who are a software development and AI company. With La Liga, the top division of football in Spain. The organization helps focus on a mix of both commercial performance from a data perspective, so looking at stuff like fan engagement, for example, as well as performance data, so helping clubs use data and technology to their advantage. But it's not just limited to La Liga clubs, but also other sporting organizations and confederations and so on. But Jose, I'll pass over to you to give a bit of an introduction to yourself and exactly what you do at Sportium.
Yeah, okay. Again, thank you so much. Yeah, I work as a senior data scientist here in Sportian. Sportian, it was not just created a couple of years ago, but it is like fusion or a work between Globant, which is a huge technology company. It was born in Argentina, but like it has presence in 30 different countries, more than 30,000 employees around the world. But it all started with La Liga Tech back in 2014. La Liga starting to create these different technology applications or technology solutions within the competition to improve the competition itself or the fan engagement or the experience of the fan and so. But it started within La Liga. And then Globant came in and they created this company that we are right now. We are Sportian and we are expanding ourselves to any other, as you said, any other sport, like not just football. We work with different clubs on different sports, different scales of clubs. This technology and all the projects that we can do and all the things that we can do to make the industry better based on technology. It is not just for football and for any kind of club or league or federation or whatever. But yeah, we are here and the purpose of the company is to help in this huge and a lot of potential industry like the sport industry to go bigger and to use technology to reach the next level and help all the organizations within it.
Yeah. Look, obviously, we spoke about this. Your big focus is obviously on the world of football. But what other sort of organisations or other, I guess, sports where have you seen that there's kind of been a massive increase in the use of data, or at least the potential for people to want to start being more data driven?
Yeah, I think like as we can see and as we can imagine, like the biggest clients or the main sports that are working with data or with this kind of artificial intelligence project that we're in is like the biggest sports right now, maybe football and maybe basketball or baseball or, because it is obviously that the revenue of these sports are bigger than we compare it to maybe a smaller one. But technology is changing. We have a lot of open source things. All the infrastructure is getting cheaper. We have a lot of cloud resources that we can buy, even we have short money. So there is a lot of things to do. There is a lot of things common to all the sports. We work with Major League Rugby, like the first division of the rugby league in the States, with building the OTT platform to give the streaming of all the matches. And yeah, we've been in conversations with different clubs of basketball. We are working with clubs on different scales of different sports. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of, you mentioned, in terms of obviously the potential for the use of data within La Liga, within these sporting organizations, do you think the commercial world or the performance world is kind of further along on that journey? Where do you see more potential, I guess, over the next 5 years? Because obviously, yeah, look, we many teams, organizations have been trying to build on data teams over the last couple of years from a performance perspective, but also I think obviously from a commercial perspective, a lot of teams and organizations have seen the use of data with regards to fan engagement, ticket selling, CRM, customers. Do you think either one of them is kind of slightly, at this moment, slightly more advanced? And if so, do you think the other one is going to catch up, or where do you think we're sort of up to in terms of the landscape at the moment?
Yes, I mean, obviously the competition data or the performance data is the widely used and is the field that all the clubs or maybe most of the biggest clubs has been working in. Because like sport industry is it is like very specific industry, and we can see it we can see a club just a team that needs to win the matches to have best position and making more money. This organization, they are not just like a team playing a match. It is much bigger. Like we are talking, these clubs, they move a lot of people, and their relationship with the fan, maybe talking with from a commercial perspective, can be like you can do a lot of things. You can like the thing that we firstly think when we talk about data and data analysis and so will be like what we are all used to, expected goal, expected threat, whatever. So we can talk later about that because I mean it is so interesting and can be really used to, for scouting or for match analysis, for the performance, to analyze the performance of your own team. But there is a lot of more things to work with. Like on our perspective, the fan is like the center. Any other industry can just dream about the relationship that the sports entities have with the fans. I mean, I'm a huge football fan, and I know which is my relationship with my club. And it is not the same like if I am a client of any other industry apart from it, because there is a lot of passion. So I think there is a lot of work there to enhance the experience of the fans, doing a lot of fun campaigns, bringing the fans closer to your entity, because that can obviously bring a lot of revenue. You can sell more tickets, you can have more subscription on your app, you can do events with the fans, you can have different packages or fans, so there's a lot of technology there, and there is a lot of data. I mean, any club, big club, gathers 80,000 people, 70,000 people each weekend on the stadium. Yeah. So imagine the amount of data we can gather for there, and to enhance everything. We have all the profiles, like the youngest one to the elderly ones. So we can do a lot of things with the fans, and that's what probably has to evolve. We are working a lot with it. We have a lot of projects related to fan engagement and fan analysis and so. And I think there is a lot to do there. And with the venues as well, with the stadiums, we have this other product called Smart Venues. So we try to gather everything technologically in a technology perspective, like from the ticketing experience within the match, interaction with the fans, with all the maybe where they can buy, what's the best place to set the bar to be closer to the fans, whatever. Like you can do a lot of things with data. And in this case, I think like the clubs or the sports industry they have been more centered on developing the performance perspective. That is, I mean, it is a huge thing and we need it. But there is a lot of commercial part to be developed and to evolve with. So yeah, I think it needs to catch up. I mean, we know a lot of performance, we know a lot of statistics, we know how to read it, we know how to use it. There is a lot of providers. There is a gap with all the things that we can do as a big company that a club is or a league is. There is a lot of things to do, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's cool because obviously the lifetime value of fans is incomparable to any other industry in the whole entire world.
Yeah, I agree.
Look, with the globalization of football and obviously the amount of fans that there are to attract in the US, in the Middle East, in Asia and so on, that it is really important that obviously these clubs, and especially don't want to just pick out the larger ones, but like there is definitely that thing, like Manchester City have done such a good job over the last couple of years. Obviously the success on the pitch helps, but like from a fan perspective, the globalization and being able to get supporters now from all over the world, because of their kind of internal data teams has really helped them as the City group grow and develop as a commercial function, as well as obviously our performance side of things.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. They are a giant. I mean, we have examples of other clubs they are on a stock, right? Like Manchester United is in the New York Exchange, I think. So, I mean, this is a signal of how big they can be. But even though, like, if we are able to, build these white label products that anyone can use, so we can like personalize it to the scale of the club. So maybe if you are a club on the third division of any country, you don't need or you do not have the same needs that a first division huge European club has. But there is still work to do. I mean, you have a base fan, a huge base fan. You have a lot of data. You sell tickets. You can you can activate your fans. You can find new ones outside the country. So there is a lot of work, yeah, to being able, and that's what we're trying to do, to personalize our work. Just not, you know, giving the product. Okay, we've developed this for you. There you go, and we walk away. No, we kind of try to learn with them because, I mean, we are kind of a young company. So we try to stay with them doing also this product part, but this consultancy, so we can learn about the different situations that we can have with a huge client, league, or federation, or maybe with a small one on a minor sport or whatever. So yeah, we have to, but there is a lot of things to do in both of them. Yeah.
I think that's what it is as well. Maybe even some of these smaller organizations with slightly or smaller teams with slightly less budgets, maybe kind of put data to a side and actually don't realize that if they had or do invest a bit more, then the return that they could get from bringing in new fans or kind of, I guess, getting the current fans to spend more, understanding more about them, actually, it could end up being a bit more of a level playing field. But we can come on to that in a second, because I think that's a very important side from a performance perspective, because
Yeah.
obviously a lot of the things my experiences are from the UK, but you look at clubs like Brentford and Brighton, whose obviously budgets are way less, but from early days, their owners have implemented this data-driven methodology from a performance, from a transfer perspective. And arguably, I mean, Brighton's probably the best example. They are so good now, and the way that they're competing with these clubs who have been so much traditionally bigger than them, larger than them, because they implemented data from early on, and they've seen such a
Yeah, I think those two are very good examples. I don't know the actual story, but I think like the owners are like they own a big data company itself. So like they born with it. So it is not like, I think they didn't have to walk this path to get to this data-driven thing, because they born with it. Like, if our owner has a big data or sport analysis company, we can do it, and we're going to that. It shows that they succeeded. Like, they succeeded. We can we can discuss about maybe other decisions, like maybe a common fund will not be happy with, maybe, closing the down the down teams or whatever. We can discuss that because UK football is quite important. But the clubs has succeeded. Brighton has played the Europa League last season, which is awesome. I mean, if you think like where they were 10 years ago, it is awesome. And obviously, it is not just thanks to the data, but it is also to the people understanding that data can help them. I mean, there is this common, not just in football, but like, well, artificial intelligence is going to steal my job. And so, no, I think it's just going to create more. I mean, like, not in my part, but like people that know how to use it. And I'm not talking about like very difficult generative artificial intelligence or so, but just an easy tool that can analyze some data and maybe predict something can help a lot on the decision making. It is not that difficult or that expensive. Like, technologies, as I said, is cheaper with the time. It's been cheaper, and it's going to be cheaper in the future. So yeah, I think there's a work to do, and there is some successful cases. There is a lot of clubs that they're doing so, but yeah, very two good examples.
Look, we'll try and not talk about the final on Sunday. For anyone listening, yes, this was filmed 2 days after.
We can go with it. Maybe the listeners.
But what I was going to say is, obviously, the last 10, 15 years, I saw a stat the other day. It was like Spain, including the national team and the clubs in Spain, I think they've won 26 out of 26 finals they've been in European competitions over the last however many years. But Like, obviously the like aside from the Barcelona, Real Madrid, but the success of your Sevilles of the world in Europe over the last however many years, do you think any of this is down to data? Like, have any of these clubs in Spain, I guess, been forward thinking with what they've been doing from a data perspective, not just with signings, but from a tactical perspective, from positioning, from injury prevention? Like, do you think that that's, yeah, like how far forward are Spanish clubs with regards to data, I guess, compared to maybe not necessarily English clubs, but some of these other big nations, German,
Yeah.
French clubs? And is that maybe kind of why we've had so much success of Spanish clubs over the last 10 to 15 years in Europe?
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's been awesome for the last years for the Spanish teams. Apart from Barcelona and Real Madrid, there had a lot of stakes like Sevilla. Sevilla's won like I don't know the number, but 5 or 6
Too
Europa
many.
Leagues on the last years. So it's been crazy. And when I wasn't in this world, like when I didn't know about these clubs, like talking with them, and so I wouldn't say like why this is happening, but like it has to be something with data because I've talked with a lot of clubs. It is surprising that the clubs that they are having most success, talking about just competitions, because we can talk about revenues as well and a lot of things, but like the competition or the football success, these clubs are evolving a lot. Like I've been in talks with different clubs in Spain, clubs that are winning lately from on a different project that we from Sportian and La Liga kind of guiding and teaching the clubs, the staff from the club on how to use data, like how to use it professionally, like really advanced analytics or models or so. And I've been in talk with different clubs, and for me, it's not surprising that they are succeeding when I see what they are doing inside the club. Like they are building their own data warehouses. They have a lot of providers. They take care of of all the data platform and have a good data quality. And they're evolving a lot. I mean, I don't want to name clubs, of course, but like they're doing amazing things. Like not just on competition data, like for scouting and so. I know they're doing it, but like for the ticket, as I said before, right? For the fans, fan activation, campaigns, marketing, they're doing a lot of with data. They are being very well structured, and I think they're evolving a lot. A few years ago, I mean, UK, the clubs in the UK, they are so evolved here. I mean, they are so good in this. I know a couple of samples, but they have like quite big data departments within the club. And I see that now in Spain, it is starting to grow a lot. It is starting to grow a lot, and then they're starting to do a lot of things. I will not just say that it is because they are being data driven. I think like, okay, very good club, very good players. There is a lot of things that goes with it. But for sure, I will not be surprised if data and how do we use it has something to do with this lately success of this Spanish club. Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to say just on that, I know it's not been necessarily yet on a European stage, but I think Girona probably such a good example of their rise in the last couple of years. Obviously, part of the City group, so again, appreciate the budgets are slightly different to some of these smaller clubs, but like the City group a number of years ago decided to build in-house data teams from the commercial perspective in order for revenue generation, and then also from a performance perspective. And I think what they've done over the last couple of years has been a pretty remarkable effort. Albeit I know that people will say, yeah, they've got a lot of the funding behind them, but again, that's because the City Football Group decided on creating a right infrastructure from a data and tech perspective a number of years ago. And I think, yeah, their rise last year was, I'm not saying it's purely data orientated, but there's definitely an element of that which has.
Yeah, and they could be like small things. I mean, you have to be good with the scouting and transfer window to have good players or whatever. But again, like if you can build an app for your team, like in Sportian, we help teams to build their own app, their own web page, and so you can get in touch with your fans. Maybe you can, some campaign where they can go to the stadium and get 2 free tickets for whatever match, and they get closer to the club, and they start to going more to the stadium, and the players see that the stadium is more crowded. Like I think everything has something to do. Like if we encourage our fans, if we also take good decisions on the scouting using this data, but like everything has a little impact, and you can sell more tickets, you can have more money, there will be a best atmosphere in the stadium. So like I think each thing every task like you do using data will have a little impact that maybe will get bigger on the time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the problem we have here is every single ground in the Premier League is sold out every single week. So ultimately, that sort of customer need here is not as much. Like Arsenal, for example, recently, I don't know if you saw this, but they've done a thing that if people don't turn up to 17 of their 20 games, their season ticket gets stripped. And it's like, okay, there'll be people out there, especially some of the older generation, who might not be able to attend every game, but Arsenal know that if their seats are empty, they will get taken by someone else, and they can make more revenue and be bought by someone else. So
Yeah.
it's a
And
bit,
you can have impact on other thing apart from the stadium. Like if you have more fans, if you build a bigger fan on the entire league, there will be more people seeing it live on the broadcasting.
Yeah.
So that will have an impact on the price of the broadcasting rights. So you do receive more money. That's why I say like every small decision can impact you. Like, and it is being so. We have different examples and case studies or business cases with our clients that how a small project of fan activation or fan engagement or doing different with the app to treat fans had an impact on the revenue. So yeah, we are seeing it. So I think like it is. I encourage. Anyone to encourage any club, but like I'm seeing it from the inside, like how it is changing things, how it is making easy for everyone, like to improve. Let's say about revenue because it is what is important always, but also as on the competition, like on the results itself, because you can be awesome on the revenues, but if you don't succeed like on the competitions, your fans they will say, okay, how good you're treating me, but like win a month for once in a while. So everything, I think, has to be hand by hand. Yeah.
yeah. And look, I know you've mentioned it a couple of times, and it's something which is definitely a conversation, not just in the sporting world, but in the technology world. But this use of artificial intelligence, without giving away many of your tricks and Sportian's, I guess, business model, where are you at the moment, I guess, integrating the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning into analytics and into your work? And as I said, from either side, from a commercial or a performance perspective, because I think a lot of organizations, and this isn't just sports club, are hearing and seeing the world of artificial intelligence, but I don't think there's a lot of organizations, or there are definitely organizations out there struggling to actually understand how they can benefit from it and where they can use it. So it'd be really good to kind of get your perspective from a sporting kind of side of it, where you see it heading and how you see more clubs integrating machine learning and artificial intelligence.
I mean, I like this question because this is the thing that I do. Like as a data science and a kind of a geek with this, I try to be, do not give every detail because people are going to get bored. But yeah, I mean, right now, like you have to be with data, you have to be with artificial intelligence, you have to be doing something like, and you don't have to go to the complex and very state of the art that they are in the news about generative AI that can read our brain or whatever. You can, it's not necessary like that. Like machine learning has been with us like for a lot of years and can help you a lot with decision making predictions. I don't know, for everything that you can like. We need to center in an industry, but it will just help. But the first step here, obviously, is having good data, like making a machine learning model or an artificial intelligence app or project or whatever. It is based on your data and all the data you have and how this data is. So the best and the very important thing here is to collect data, to store it, and how do you store it? Which technology do you use, if it is tidy or not, because bad data or organized data will end in a bad AI project or a bad. So the first thing is like, okay, we're going that data driven. Let's collect our data, have a lot of data engineers to make our database and to help data science to do their job. Because if they can have good data, they won't do it. On the particular cases here in football, we can go for the very simple one, like we are used to it. Expected goal stat is nothing else than a machine learning model. I mean, expected goal is a machine learning model trying to predict whether this player shooting from anyone, it is going to be a goal or not, right? A goal or not has a probability between it, okay? No goal is 0 and 1 is a goal, okay? So we can go from 0% to 100% of probability. And this is a machine learning model. So you have to compute different. So I'm telling this to show you, like, it is everywhere. Like, we are saying, like, okay, expected goal. It is like there, but it is a machine learning model. It is an artificial intelligence model where we compute different variables for the model. We can talk later if you have any questions about it. But to give a percentage of it, where else it is? In sports, a lot of clubs are making chatbots on their website or whatever it is. Now we have a lot of tools to do it. Like it is trendy right now. So there's been a lot of work with it, and it is so easy to deploy a chatbot with your own data and your page that can help your fun experience where you go there. You can predict. Where I can give examples of all the colors, but like. For the how many tickets are going to be sold, you can do a prediction of machine learning models. We have a project with this. We can talk later. How to optimize the calendar. We've been working with La Liga. It is widely known. We have a product that La Liga uses right now that optimizes where to put each matches. Okay, we have 10 matches on a match day, and in which time slot do we have to put them, each one, in order to optimize, the attendance to the stadiums, the international audience of this particular country, the house audience, the Spain audience, or whatever. And, if you can, 10 years ago or 20 years ago, probably, there will be this guy in the league in charge of deciding the time slots, like going maybe with a paper or with that, like, okay, Barcelona at 12 a.m., Real Madrid Sunday 9 p.m. Okay, if you go like that, 10 matches, 20 time slots, you have like 5 million combinations or so. So it is not, like, you cannot handle it. And you will never come up with a very good one solution. So what we can get from artificial intelligence and machine learning is to, make more easier our work. To see, like, if I put this match here and the other there, I can give some restriction or whatever, how it is going to impact. If I change Girona to play on Friday, will it increase the prediction of how many people are going to tie into the stadium, or how many people are going to watch it in Mexico? I don't know. So we have like a lot of things to do to help planning, to help decision making, and there is a lot of examples that I can give to you. So I'm gonna get.
That's cool. Do you think that is arguably number one paying point for most of these clubs, that they actually know they want to do analysis, they know what analysis they want to do, but they actually don't know, or they have never hired a data engineer, so that the data that they're trying to get is actually all over the place? I know a lot, obviously, from the performance side of it, there's obviously loads of softwares out there where they collect the data for you. So I guess that side of it, maybe not. But do you think from a commercial side, that is actually where these clubs are maybe falling short, is that they don't have a data engineer, or they don't have people who are structuring the data in a data warehouse? So then when they're getting when they think they want to do this analysis, they actually don't even know where to start because the data's not in a centralized place.
Yeah, for me, like, the most important thing when you want to start with data and doing things with data, because this data world is like a straight pipeline. Like, when we always analyze with clubs, like, how mature are they with data? Do we ask them, like, how do you store your data? Because they can be a client, a club, or whatever. They can tell you, like, oh, no, we have the data, so we can build our auto model and let's go for it. And we ask them, and the data is in an Excel, a Microsoft Excel, So is this mature? How are they with data? What is the first point? Like, I need to, and this is the very, very, very important thing, because when you have good data, you have very structured data, clean data, quickly recollect, and so you can start doing your AI project. This is a pipeline. So let's get the data, let's organize it, let's see how do we consume it, like in which database, which technology, how big is the data. Maybe we need not just a computer with the data, we need a distributed cluster, to have all the data. And then if we have all this organized, we can go with the data science project. We can maybe build and predictor for, how many tickets I'm going to sell, or, analyze anything that I want in the club. Like, they have a lot of data. As I said, they gather 80,000 people on the stadium. They gather 2 million people on their own country, just seeing it through the screen, that maybe they're interacting with the app. But the very important thing is, how do we store? Like, why this guy, my fan, Joe, why they have entered the app when the goal happened? And maybe they want to see the video that you've just uploaded, and so yeah, the very first one is to know how to do with data, like where do we store it, how do we treat it, and how do we organize it, and then we can go with the complex things. Maybe not complex because they're difficult, but because they are after. This is a pipeline, okay? We have to collect it, and then we can do this. Looks like magic, artificial intelligence thing, but it is not magic. It's mathematics and it is algebra. It's quite easy. So, but like, first is first, and we need to be clear how do we get good data and so on. That's why the data engineer profile is quite important in everywhere.
How in it kind of leans on to this then, when you are approaching these people from both sides of the fence who maybe aren't from a data tech background, how are you portraying the value you can add, or how are you portraying the insight, or I guess explain to them how to start their data journeys to these people who are completely out of the data world and I guess maybe aren't as knowledgeable as obviously data specialists like yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I had to learn how to do it, because if it was for me, I would love to talk about the performance of this new model. They have 100 billion parameters and has 3 hidden layers and so. But you cannot talk like that with executive people, or yeah, someone in the business part, let's say. And yeah, I've learned with the time, like how to give or how to show how we can add value, and it's just impacting them. Like, so many examples. I cannot like draw the architecture of the model. I cannot do that. Like, yeah, it's going to be like that. I cannot get into that detail, but I can show, like, okay, we did this with this other client, and we were able to predict with 90% accuracy which number of fans are going to do churn on their app, are going to uninstall it or whatever, because we've done it. So we have to impact them with numbers, with data, like how it is going to impact you, how it is going to impact your revenue, how maybe can improve your number of fans downloading the app or whatever, and a lot of presenting it in a good way. Obviously, it is not that like my job; it is more than for the sales team. But when we work with them, we try to explain, like, on a low matter, how to impact our client, and not being so techy. I love it, but try not to be it, because you're gonna bore it and you're not gonna get anything. That's what I think. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's hard. I mean, look, it's hard. As I said, it's hard for people. And that's an issue that comes up across the whole of the data world, not just in the football world. But obviously, I guess the only difference is in the football world. A lot of the time, it's results here and now, rather than against more organisations where they might have a bit more time to obviously implement or start using data. Yeah, I mean, look, what if you can give examples? I don't know if you can do, but what organisations have you worked with, or what clubs have you worked with where they are really utilizing data to the best of their ability, or kind of, I guess, which sort of leads on to my point, is there anything where you've seen or work you've done which has been really, really useful to a club or an organization that you can sort of pinpoint?
Yeah, like talking about clubs or any football entity like La Liga or whatever.
Either one.
I mean, La Liga, apart from being one of our biggest clients, is like our dad, right? Like we have our mom that is global and our dad that is La Liga. So it's quite easy to work with them. So we are trying to innovate a lot, and we have a lot of, innovative lines going on with them because, we born from that. They're a huge client. They are really, La Liga is like when they decided to make this decision in 2014, I think, to create La Liga Tech, like it was, what is Sportian now? What is my company right now? They started making a lot of technical decisions, like trying to, being one of the first top tier leagues to do this kind of, where I talk about like calendar selector, how to choose the time slots of the match. The OTT platform, they launched an own OTT platform, to have different content with paying packages and so. And and the next year in 2015, they had a huge impact on the revenue, and they saw it. So they are still betting to getting more complex and doing more things and doing more innovative things. So I would say, like, talking about leagues, La Liga will be one of the top tiers, like on how, I mean, I don't have all the data, like I've not talked with, I don't know, maybe other leagues, but I'm sure for what I know, like La Liga is very on the top of the pyramid here on how evolved by them.
Do you think they need to do that in order to keep up to date with the Premier League? Because the Premier League, from experience, I know that they do have data people and it's a small data and tech team, but I guess the Premier League, fortunately for us in England, it sells itself. The growth is so organic that we always discuss it here. We could have, and no disrespect to any fans of these teams, but you could have Southampton beat Burnley on a Sunday afternoon and you would still get English football fans sitting there watching it. So I guess there's obviously maybe less of a need for this kind of little bit of innovation within the Premier League because they have the audience already there. So do you think the La Liga's mindset for the tech kind of function is because they need to compete with them?
I cannot give you an answer to that because I don't work within La Liga. But like going to your point, like in England, is this organic? I think so. Like the times that I've been there and I talk with English fans, it is within their daily basis. Like, your team is part of your life. I think it's one of the football fans countries all over the world. I think they are going to keep being one of the top leagues because obviously talking about fans and engagement and how the stadiums are crowded as the maximum and so. But I think that's is on you. Like you English people, like you are very used to it and you love it. And maybe if the Premier League didn't do a lot of data thing, you will be still going every Sunday to. But I don't know if La Liga is doing that. I mean, for us, even though they're like kind of a dot, it's just one more client, right? A huge one, but it's one of our clients, and I don't know their business, line. But yeah, maybe it could be.
Yeah. And when you're working with these organizations, how do you, from a Sportian perspective, how do you evaluate your performance in terms of working with them? Is it looking for, I guess, from a commercial perspective, kind of real life return of investment, as we spoke before? From a performance perspective, is it, looking at maybe transfers or tactical stuff where there's been a value add? But how do you evaluate your performance from a data perspective when working with these organizations?
Yeah, maybe there I don't have the whole picture because, I'm a tech people. I do code and we work like, when we work on a project, you can think like I can think on a daily basis that I'm not in the sport industry, apart from the data that I'm using, because I work with, Scrum team, we work on sprints, I do my, I have my tasks for this project. Okay, we are developing right now, calendar selector, whatever. So I do my tasks, and then, I'm there when we're talking with the clients to see what they want. And so my performance being, because, they have to be different profiles in the team. In my case, I'm a technical one, so I do the code. For me, I have obviously numbers that tells me how good is the thing that I'm doing, but it's not, the thing is, it's not just, I'm a data science, okay? So I build models, I do data analysis and it can be as good, like I can do it and say, this is perfect, like I've changed the world, but it is nothing if it is not if it is not handled well to the client, they like it, they know how to use it. So I think there's a lot of work there. For me, it's a very important thing. Like I've learned working in this kind of projects, like with all the tech stack, with backend, front end, and everything. For me, how the client interacts with the tool is so important. Like I can have built the best model in the world, but if the design of the front end is not user friendly, is not easy to use, that will give problems, and our client will not be happy, and probably it will have been a not successful project. So I think that part is very. We have like a huge team of designers, UX and UI. I've learned that this is so good, and what we do to see like the acceptance of the client and how do we perform with every project. We do user acceptance time, where while we are developing, the tool is not finished, but we let the client use it, even though we are still developing, just to know how are we doing. Like we are still on dev time, we are still doing things, we have tasks to do, but okay, here are your credentials, try to use it, how do you feel, what's missing for you, what do you like to enhance more, like, and we do that to not be like this kind of consultancy companies that, hey, here's your product, buy, give me the money and see you in a year if you want. So we go try to work with the client at the same time we are developing, so we can see if we are doing a good work. That's what we usually do, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. And I guess on that, is there any sort of specific examples you can give me of something where you've seen that value? Obviously, you're seeing it from a technical perspective, but anything where you are proud of, or a certain type of model that you've developed that's actually you've kind of finished it and gone, yeah, that's bloody impressive. That.
Yeah. I mean, to check like with my own eyes if it had an impact, it is difficult, because we handle it to the client and
then I guess
they know how to use it. But like to be proud with is one of the good things. Like I love what I do, so when something when my code works and what a model I've developed, I feel it. Like in recently in Calendar Selector, this tool that I told you that we have with La Liga to choose the time slots, and so there's a lot of data science projects there. Obviously, you have to predict for each. When you change 1 hour, you have to compute all the variables and so, and we have a model for each one of the targets. Like we can go for international audience at the stadium attendance, and you have to treat it separately. Like we've developed for the client, it's just one data product, but for me, it was like 15 different models they have to deal with their problems, with the data, how the data came, and it was really challenging to tackle it, but it was so successful. Where they have impact on the clubs, maybe I work on another consultancy, a football consultancy here in Spain. It's called DripLab. And there I did some research on tracking, like building tracking from broadcasting signal, not like to sell it, but just to see how it is done. It was one of the best experience for me because I was like really young. I was starting with this work, and they allowed me to, research and learn about the providers. And there I also work with the football specialist. So we have like kind of scouters within the company. So I help them, to build this kind of metrics that they have a relationship indirectly that I see, okay, this club asks us for managers in different, and whatever we have built, we can see on the news that they have seen this other guy. So I was like in this process, and that is so cool. I mean, because you are doing what you love, not just about like the tech thing, but I'm working in like one of my biggest hobbies and the thing that I love, that is football or sports, and so it is so grateful. And when things go well, it is not the same. Like for me, it would not be the same to work in other industry where the outcome is, okay, yeah, I don't know, I've increased the revenues of this department, doing, I don't know, of an industry that I don't care that much. The point here and what I enjoy being here, that the outcome, I can see it and I really enjoy it. Even though I have more or less impact because I'm a techie, I'm building models, but which data I'm reading, like what we are talking with clubs, I mean, this is the game we love, like NBA said. So like being involved in this thing is what really pays me. Is what really pays me for me. Yeah.
Um, Look, it's good to lean into the next question then, because I do ask all the guests this, and it's, I think, very important, definitely for some listeners. But everyone wants to work in the sporting industry. It's always been the case, or any sports fan wants to work in sports, and unfortunately, not everyone can. What was your journey into the world of sports then? Because obviously you're competing with other people, but yeah, what was your journey to get there, and which also then leads on to any advice you can give those that are maybe, I guess, graduates that are listening, or those that are studying and they want to get into the sporting world one day, but maybe don't know or don't have the right connections to be able to get a foothold in. Yeah, is there any sort of, I guess, good to hear your journey, how you got there, but also any advice that you can give these sort of people?
Yeah, I think, in fact, I didn't study it like to be a data scientist. I studied, my bachelor was telecommunications engineering. So you can imagine, like, I'm the fast possible from antennas and so, and communications and so, but like it gave me a good background on programming, problem solving and so. I mean, I love what I studied, but like first, like it was before like how I entered into the data science world. I did my last year, senior year, we call it, like in United States. I had scholarships, and there was no telecommunications engineering there. Okay, so I had to choose the subjects that I need to end my career, and so I ended up doing like from a lot of different degrees, and I had the opportunity, like it was like a data science course, and I was like, easy data, whatever. And, was my last year, and I was like, whoa, I love these things. Like, what I love about data science is like the outcome of it. Like, if you are, I don't want to, say that any other programming job is not as good, like, but for me, like seeing the outcome, like, how do you treat data? What can data tell you? The value you can add has more importance to me. Like, it is so important, as I said, but I will not be as motivated at building a button as a front end it is so good. But for me, I found it like the outcome, how do we see data, how do we use it? It was more enrichment, and you have to face a lot of problems. It is so mathematical, so statistics, things that I love, apart from just, programming, that you have to know it as well. So I started to it. COVID came in, had a lot of free time, and I started doing courses like crazy. Like it's been like 3 months of lockdown doing courses, doing certifications and so on. I was like, oh, like this world. I did some internship. I did a master's as well on data science, but my first internship was not related to football. It was a telecommunications engineering, but it was about data science. And I was like, this is not my thing. And I was reading a lot about data and sports, following LinkedIn pages, playing with data on the internet. There is a lot of open data. I will say later. And I started to being brave and talk. Writing the companies that I want to work with. I started writing emails. I love I'm a big football fan. I've done this. I think I can do it. Being brave. And Dribble Lab answered me, and was one of the best experiences in my life. I learned a lot. I was like recently graduated, and I learned about data providers. They give me this freedom to learn and to know how football industry is, how the data is in the football industry, and so I had I was so lucky to learn while I was in a company of data and sports. But it was, talking with people, sending emails, talking on LinkedIn. And yeah, I mean, it was lucky for me, and it was awesome. This time I learned a lot, and I was like, whoa, I like this. Like, as I said, the outcome where the data that I'm using is more challenging for me than if I'm using weather data, I don't know, to say something, but and I was like, well, this is awesome. And yeah, I started going to events. I would say for all the people that this networking thing is very important, and is where I knew a couple of guys. I've attended to a lot of events, football analysis events, different events, talking to people. Working was so good, and I came up, had a really good conversation with a colleague of mine. And when there was a position open, they knew that I was working in the data sports. So it was like, okay, Jose, are you interested? And I was like, yeah, for me, it was a step forward. I keep in the data industry. So yeah, for me, it's kind of lucky. In conclusion, it was kind of lucky to find a job. But I was looking for it. I was writing. I was giving cold phone calls, not phone calls itself, but like I was selling me. And yeah, it has its results. And I'm here. And for the people that want to get in, I'll say these two things: going to networking events, listen to people that is working right now. There is a lot of cases. Like I'm nothing special. Like I mean, I can be good or bad or whatever in my work, but like I wasn't like the top of my class. Like whoa, Jose Nafría has 5 different research papers. No, it wasn't like me, but I worked and I knew a lot of people, go to events, and had the opportunity to learn while I was working in data. If you want to work here, lot of networking, and I would say also there is, I mean, couple of years, 5 years ago, there was no open data about football. Like it was expensive, you cannot use it. But right now there is a lot of tools. Like is the common what we always say, but in Kaggle there is a lot of data and competition about you have maybe or Opta. They once a year they say like, hey, we've opened the eventing data of FIFA World Cup in 2014. So you can use it, you can download it and start trying your things. Maybe I can build an XG model. There is a lot of things there. And to get used to data providers, it is needed in the sports industry to know how the Opta data is, how do you treat it with tracking data. And yeah, I would say that there is also this specifically one, there is this web page called SoccerNet that they have a lot of open data and for a lot of tasks. Like you have tracking data as well, and they have different competitions each year when people just sign up for the competition, and you can just try it with open data, and you can work on your things, get used to it, and there is very, very, very interesting things there in SoccerNet, and I would say, yeah, try it yourself, fight with it on your own computer, and go into networking, knowing people, and yeah, that was really like that, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think the network, well, the events are definitely one thing. I know some of those are obviously expensive for people to attend to, but I think, yeah, the amount of data that is now available is it actually gives people a chance to do their own projects. And I think what the exciting thing is, this is still very, very early days. The maturity is not there. So there's still going to be the chance for people to come up with new ideas, new models, build different things. And if they can get in touch with the right people and present it, we've seen in the UK, well, not just in the UK, in Europe, I've seen over the last year or so, the amount of different consultancies and organizations that are now set up where they're aiming to help these organizations with this stuff is absolutely endless. So yeah, there's definitely opportunity for people that.
Yeah, a very good point because yeah, a few years ago there was very few open positions and open roles on the football industry, but as you said, it is, and you see it as a recruiting company, right? Like it is growing a lot. Like each year there is small companies, they are growing a lot, and there'll be more opportunities. It will not be that exclusive in years to come when everything, goes better.
Yeah, because I think that is a thing that the football world is always maybe 10 years behind other organizations from a tech data perspective, and I think we've seen that like. Just over, as I said, this summer alone, the amount of clubs in the UK we've now seen advertising for data science roles and football agencies who have a portfolio of players hiring their own internal data science teams. Like it really, there is no limit.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure you know it better than me, but like I'm starting to see these positions like open position, like they. A couple of years ago, they didn't publish it like on LinkedIn or InfoJobs or whatever. Like there was like they call these people that they know, maybe they call our recruiting company or so to find it. But like I'm starting to see it like open. Like it is a sign that everything is, there's going to be more opportunities now on.
Yeah. And last, I guess just to end on it. So in terms of you as I said, you're a really great person to speak to, Jose, and get your thoughts because you have both sides of it. But how do you see the role of data science in football evolving over the next 5 years? As I said, we can look at this from so many different angles because we've worked with and spoke to people who are doing data science for injury prevention. We've spoken to Huddle before where they're talking about the use of data science for different ways of playing and tactical plays about where the best time to score a goal will be. As we've said, transfers, obviously a big conversation about data and transfers. And then obviously we've spoken about it loads, but the commercial side of it and how clubs from an engagement fan perspective. But how do you see this role of data and especially data science? Because I think that is the big thing is, look, a lot of organizations can create dashboards, can create visuals, but I think the ones that are going to make the difference are the ones that are creating ML models, AI algorithms and whatnot. But yes, so where do you see this evolving over the next 5 years? And if I'm sure you'd probably be a millionaire if you could tell me an exact answer, but where do you see where do you see data kind of what do you see the data landscape in sports looking like in over the next couple of years?
Yes. As you said, like just before, like football companies or football entities are kind of like a couple of years behind the rest of the industries on related to data-driven projects, and and we've seen this evolution on the last 10 years from other industries. Like if you open LinkedIn or whatever, if you want to work as a data science, now it is crazy. Like you have just in my city, I'll have maybe 1,000, 2,000 open positions. So we are seeing it like data science, not data science, but like the whole data pipeline. Obviously, the data science is like maybe the one that gives this extra value to having the data, not just seeing it, but creating new things with this data. It is so important. It will have an impact. And I think you have to have it within your own organization. If we compared a football club with the number of employees that it have, apart from the players, but like, I don't know, Citigroup, how many employees can have, but for sure more than 1,000 or more than 2,000. If you see that company in other industry, they'll have hundreds of people in the data department, Football, it was a little bit difficult because, it is for the people, we all are in it. And I think it is being difficult to go into that direction, but it's the natural thing. It's the natural thing to go. Like, we'll need to treat the data. We're going digital. When we go digital, the football is going digital as well. When we go digital, we produce more data. With more data, we can do more things. So I think that in the following years, every club, not every club, but every club that can afford it, the same as within other companies, maybe a company with 10 employees doesn't have a data science, but a company with 400, I'll assure you that we'll have 10 maybe. So yeah, we need to apport this value to the football industry, but for everything, like for the clubs, for the agencies. The agencies are starting to have a lot of data as well and a lot of data science. 5 years ago, it wasn't like that. So I think we are evolving on it, and we end up like any other industry. We'll have our data department where we'll have data science to make this value, but also we have to maintain all our data. So we need data engineers, we need business analysts to build our dashboards. We'll need maybe ML ops engineer that we're talking about right now. Like it is easy to build a model. It is not easy, but we have a very difficult process after that. That is, to put that in production, and it's not that easy. And there is a lot of profiles in data, not data science, and every company in football, I think it will end up like just any other industry. We are evolving. We are getting digital, more data science. I think you'll go like that, yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I don't know what it's like in Spain, but here, like, so little of the football teams have their own apps, and like that's something which I'm sure will change over the next couple of years. But it sounds so simple. Like, obviously, a football team should have an app for their fans. So yeah, I think it's going to change. Yeah, that performance side of it, which is definitely getting there, and there's definitely obviously pioneers and clubs that are kind of really on board with that. But I think the commercial side of it is also going to really, really grow because ultimately, as football fans, we want them to be football clubs first and foremost, but they are still businesses, and there's so much scope for them to grow. And I think naturally you're right. It will become that way where it will be like any other tech business or any other retail company where data is kind of the forefront and foremost of what they do. And also an important part of the organization.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's this change of perspective. Like we've seen football like for just entertainment, but right now the clubs are like big companies, like huge companies. Like the biggest clubs we have like maybe 200 huge companies that maybe they are not using the data how they should be using. And even though like we want it to be football clubs, as you say, they are also companies and they have to pay salaries and they want to be successful and they want to have more revenue to buy better players. And one thing to have very return of investment is data and data science. And there will be a time where everyone will see it. But, it was slow because of this, because, people are really into it. Like we do not check if this other technology industry, are they doing and how are they spending? But football fans, we do. Hey, Real Madrid, what are you doing? Why you are not spending 100 million on whatever player? No. This is no discussion in any other industry. But yeah, at the end of the day, they are just business. And if we can keep with the success on the competition and we can play a good football and we can go with it, but well, we can have, we can evolve ourselves as well as companies.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then look, just to end. So, did you expect Spain to win on Sunday?
I expected it, yeah. Yeah, I mean, staying in this tournament was tremendous. Like it was. I'm still no,
Yeah.
I don't believe it. It's awesome.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
your Mao is just talent, and Williams and Dani Olmo. I mean, look, obviously it was a horrible injury what happened to Pedri, but Dani Olmo came in and he was just incredible.
What it was strange for me is that England is huge. I mean, you go player by player and they are like very talented and I don't know like why he didn't get him up how he should, but I mean, you faced Spain, it's not that easy.
Exactly. We're not used to these. Well, we are the last couple of years, but before then, we're not used to these finals. But yeah, I'm confident over the next. In my lifetime, I will see us win something. I'm not sure
football is coming home. One day it'll come home. Yeah, one day.
Perfect. Well, look, thank you very much for your time, Jose. It's been great speaking to you, and yeah, I'm sure this will be another very successful episode.
Thank you so much, and I hope all the listeners can enjoy it, enjoy my perspective, and I hope they're entertained with it. So thank you so much, Bailey, and thank you everyone for having me here.